This is TC's podcast, brewing the hottest tea, sipping every cup of tea.
Piping Hot. This is TC's podcast, bringing you the hottest tea in Bulacan State University. What's the thesis?
In today's episode, we are going to talk about gender inclusivity. And brewing the hottest tea are your resident hosts. Good morning, everyone. I am Vladimir Miranda.
Good morning. I am Daniel May Lagman, your Ate Danny in this thesis podcast.
I am Angelina May Regalia, joining you for today.
Good morning, everybody. This is Thomas Isaac Matthew Escatendig here, and I'm joined with the hosts Vladimir, Daniel, and Angelina.
Good morning, everyone. And again, welcome to TC's podcast. And this is our debut, actually. Magandang umaga, everyone. Kumusta kayo?
I'm doing good and I'm now having my coffee. Ready para sa ating tea.
Angelina, what's poppin'?
Actually, hindi pa ako nakakapag-breakfast Breakfast ko talaga is nagbabasa ako ng mga articles regarding sa podcast natin today. Ciao, Thomas.
Correct.
Ayan, sa inyong kape, sa akin naman, Milo. Sabi nga nila, energy gap. Woo!
I love the energy, Thomas. Thank you, everyone. Well, going back to the said podcast, starting TC's podcast, actually, earlier last month, the Student Rights and Welfare Organization of Bulacan State University announced this year's Lakan at Lakambini ng Karapatan screening. And something regarding the screening sparks today's episode. So, according to SRW, the screening is open for all genders. Well, it's not foreign to our knowledge that the said organization has been champions of fighting for equal rights and echoing the voices of the minorities and the marginalized. But before we dig deep into our topic, which is gender inclusivity, I just wanted to call on Ate Dani. Ate Dani, how do we define gender inclusivity and what does it mean to be really gender inclusive?
Yes, Vlad. And if we are to define gender inclusivity, it actually means speaking, acting, and even writing in a way that does not discriminate against a particular sex, social gender, or gender identity, and thus not perpetuate gender stereotypes, especially in language, given that the key role of it in shaping cultural and social attitudes. Using gender inclusive language is a powerful way to promote gender equality and eradicate gender biases as well. So, to put it simply, it is recognizing all genders the way they wanted to be celebrated with their identity. That's it.
And for sure, our audience, nagtataka kayo sa dinami-rami ng events sa Bulacan State University, bakit Lakan at Lakambini ng Karapatan ang napili natin? And ano yung interconnection niya between gender inclusivity? And para sagutin yung question na yan, Ate Angelina, bakit nga ba ito yung napili nating topic?
Alam mo kasi, Vlad, I appreciate Bulsu stepping forward to social issues tsaka mga injustices. And through school organizations nga, they are allowing us to represent yung mga minorities. Bawa na nga yung Bulsu Baghari, which encapsulates the promotion of rights and welfare of the LGBTQIA plus community and annually celebrating the SRW month or the Student Rights and Welfare Month. They are also promoting the rights and welfares of the students. And the reason kung bakit ito yung naging topic ng podcast natin is that SRW is promoting gender inclusivity sa magiging pageant nila, which is the Lakan and Lakambini ng Karapatan, which is breaking the rules na kailangan heterosexual male or female lang ang pwedeng maging Lakan at Lakambini. But regardless na ang schools nagiging pangalawang tahanan natin kung saan na ipapakita natin yung sarili natin, there are still gender exclusivity sa ibang mga schools, lalo na sa mga lower levels, kung saan hindi pa rin gender inclusive yung rules and regulations nila regarding gender appropriation. And the question that is lingering to me is that, totoo nga bang gender inclusive na yung mga schools natin?
Totally agree with you, Ate Angelina, because just like SRW and TC's podcast, our podcast promotes gender inclusivity and allowing every community, especially the minorities and the marginalized, to have a platform for their voices and stories to be heard. Kasi 'di ba, Ate Dani, when it comes to gender inclusivity, asking or promoting equal right or asking for equal right, pasok din siya sa idea ng gender inclusivity, right?
If we are going to dig deeper about it, yes. And that should be fully understood as that gender inclusivity does not only protect a certain group of genders or even the LGBTQIA plus alone. It is meant to protect the cisgender as well, non-binary, and all the members of the LGBTQIA plus community. Being gender inclusive encompasses being gender neutral because if we are going to talk about neutrality, it positions itself in disengagement or non-supportive aspect. While being inclusive, it is targeting to be more comprehensive, more accepting, and more of celebrating everyone.
Talking about gender inclusivity, let us now move on to our segment number two, which is brewing the grains. Let us start this conversation with DepEd Order 32. And may I call on Kuya Thomas to explain what is DepEd Order number 32?
Ayan, thank you, Vlad. So, to summarize na lang, ang DepEd Order number 32 noong 2017 o ang Gender Responsive Basic Education Policy ay nakalinya siya sa gender and development na mandato at nakatakda na siya noong 1987 Philippine Constitution o Republic Act 9710 o the Magna Carta of Women, Republic Act 10533 o the Enhanced Basic Education Act of 2013, Philippines International Human Rights Commitment to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, and the Convention of the Rights of the Child, among others. Nagko-commit ang DepEd para ma-implementa nila ang prinsipyo ng gender equality, gender equity, gender sensitivity, at sa pawalang bisa ng diskriminasyon at sa pagkakaroon ng human rights para magkaroon ng basic education sa lahat ng genders.
Wow, that's
Okay.
very progressive of the Department of Education. Especially they think through of a very progressive way to, recognize every gender spectrum no matter how you wanted to express yourself. That's very progressive. Actually, way back 2017 na implement na itong DepEd Order 32 na ito. Tama ba ako, Ate Lani?
Yes, DepEd Order number 32 was passed and signed on 2017. And with the recent happenings right now involving Miss Trans Global 2020, Mela Hagijan, who actually wrote to the DepEd concerning these three kids who were required to cut their hair short to comply to their school's policy. Though they were born males and identified themselves as females, they still comply to the policy of the school, which is very opposite to the objective of this DepEd order. So in that case, it is just peculiar na bakit 2017 pa napasa yung DepEd order, pero up until now, even though it is existing, it is still not being celebrated even sa schools. Whereas dapat safe space yon.
I totally agree with that. Non-progressive sana ng idea na ito, pero ang ironic dahil hindi pa rin siya fully implemented across schools sa buong bansa. And in relation to that, bilang tayo mga journalism student in college, I kind of known na wala tayong existing shed order in regards to gender inclusivity when it comes to school. Si Miss Mela Habidjan ay nag-reach out din sa Commission on Higher Education. But unfortunately, according to CHED ay hindi pa raw napag-uusapan ng ganitong topic, pero they are considering it. So I'm hoping na somehow ay dumating yung araw na pa-implementa siya sa buong university, sa buong bansa, kung saan wala ng kabataan or estudyante na mahihiyang i-express yung sarili nila sa kung paano nila ina-identify yung sarili nila gender-wise. And in relation to that, what is unfortunate to me, earlier last month, UP Babaylan, it is a LGBTQIA plus community from UP. They reported that a trans woman teacher named Teacher ST from Abra has been violently killed in broad daylight due to gender-based violence. I've never seen any reports regarding this hate crime. What I am thinking right now is that naniniwala ako kasama ang aking mga LGBTQIA plus community na isang journalism sa tutulong para i-propagate yung mga stories and struggles nila. That's why I am asking this very question, kung ano bang stand ng journalism specifically when it comes to addressing the stories and the struggles of the minorities. Jennifer Laude, a trans woman who has been killed by a foreign national. Gusto ko lang tanungin, ikaw Ate Dani, do you still remember si Jennifer Laude at kung paano nakatulong ang journalism upang i-address yung naging experience na yun ni Jennifer Laude?
First off, I think we should understand and fathom as well the importance and significance of journalism. Especially dun sa nasabi ko kanina na ang language, malaki ang part niya sa culture, attitude, and behavior ng society. And in relation to Jennifer Laude's case, parang naging hati yung mga Pilipino noong panahon na yun. Pero
Mhm.
sinasabi na siya na as trans woman na yung term na ginagamit. Whereas I give the credits where it is due. Tama naman siguro na yun yung ginamit nilang term. Pero kung paano siya ina-angle sa mga balita, I think there might be something wrong. Kasi yung, di ba, syempre yung angle ng balita, meron siyang effect kung paano siya mapaportray ng mga tao sa isip nila. In that case, if you're going to search about it, some are still blaming Jennifer Laude for her death. Kasi she deceived daw the suspect himself. Whereas, even if that's the case, is it the right ground to kill someone? So that might be a
Yes.
question for journalists as well on how they are placing the news. Well, basically, they are trying to be gender neutral, and that is not a foreign thing to us. And they are trying to use gender neutral language as they believe so. Yet, the perspective, the angle, how it is boxed, how it is presented to the audiences, to the public, there might be something wrong about it. There might be something that can still be done
Improve.
about it. If that's the case, and if that will be continuing, more likely we are not letting our society enter a gender inclusive one. We are just trying to
Yes.
be gender neutral if that's the case. We are positioning ourselves not to associate ourselves with them. We are just disengaging. That's just tolerance, not acceptance at all.
I agree so much on that, Danny. I am not trying to question journalism for what it's worth. I'm just trying to address the fact that at least try better when it comes to gender inclusivity. For us, especially journalism students, I think kaya pa nating mag-improve pa into becoming a gender inclusive institution, especially na malaki yung influence ng media sa decision making ng mga audience natin. I wanted to take things personal while we move on to our segment number 3, which is sipping the tea. So I'd like to ask Ati Dani if you have questions or any personal intake regarding gender inclusivity na you'd wanted to ask everyone.
Thank you so much, Vlad. So, for this segment three, we are delving deeper to our personal experiences because we cannot just lean on the experiences of others because there might be differences on those struggles. But I believe that there will still be intersection about it. So, Vlad, personally, I wanted to ask you this question. May I know the struggles you have encountered, especially in relation to gender inclusivity?
Ako, I wanted to take this question very lightly with allowing myself to reflect on the things na kahit simple lang siya tignan, ang deep ng meaning para sa akin. If you'll remember, 'di ba, kapag girls, all girls, tapos ako yung kasama, tapos napagdesisyonan nyo na pupunta tayo ng CR, may iwan ako mag-isa sa labas, especially kapag naka-cross-dress ako. Kasi iisipin ko, hindi ako pwede sa CR ng panlalaki kasi naka-cross-dress ako, baka isipin nila kung anong ginagawa ko doon. And somehow, hindi rin ako pwede sa pambabae kasi I'm too masculine for that CR. So the struggles of kahit na naiihi ka na kahit gusto kong sumama sa mga girl friends ko, wala, may iwan lang ako sa labas ng CR waiting for them kasi natatakot ako kasi hindi ko alam kung saan ako papasok. And that alone, sobrang frustrating and traumatic niya personally. Kasi hindi ko alam kung saan ako pupunta, hindi ko alam kung sino yung dapat kong kasama at hindi ko alam kung saan ako papasok kasi either way, madidiscriminate ako kasi pwedeng I'm too feminine for the male restroom and I'm too masculine for the female restroom. That alone, sobrang simple niya kung iisipin natin pero yung struggles na ng LGBTQIA plus community sa pamimili ng CR kung saan sila pupunta dahil natatakot silang ma-discriminate, pinipigil na lang yung sarili nila. Ay, yun yung isa sa mga struggles na gusto ko ding i-address na sana walang separation. Sana let's allow each and every one of us na makapasok sa CR confidently na walang takot na madi-discriminate sila kasi ganito yung suot nila, madi-discriminate sila dahil ganito nila ina-identify yung sarili nila. Kung iisipin, ano ba yan? Ang babaw naman ng struggle mo. Magsi-CR ka lang pala. Tapos, ganyan yung ano mo, ganyan yung pananaw mo sa pagsi-CR. Ang unfair kasi it's invalidating for us na parang kahit yun pa nga lang pinagkakait na sa amin, ano pa yung pag-call namin for equal rights na parang tinuturing yung special rights, which is ang ina-ask lang naman namin, basic human rights. We're not taking away any from you. Gusto lang namin ma-experience yung mga privilege na nai-experience ng karamihan, especially the cisgender male and female. That's a personal struggle. Na simple man siya, pero grabe yung impact. Kayo, personally, gusto ko din malaman yung struggles niyo, especially women, which is, you know, prone to misogynistic remarks. Dani, ikaw, ano bang struggle mo as a woman in this society na sobrang, especially here, in a patriarchal country na parang sobrang babaw ng tingin ng sa kababaihan?
For my experience, since we also girls experience that in a day-to-day basis, because if we are to think about girls, more likely they will be saying girls are weaker and girls should just be boxed in a certain norm that they should act in a certain way. You know what? There are times, a couple of times, that I am being catcalled, but what can I do about it? I just move forward, work forward, and ignore it. Though meron tayong anti-bastos law, which is aiming to ensure an individual's sense of personal space and public safety, and this is focused on all gender-based sexual harassment in public areas such as streets, privately owned places, open to the public, and public utility vehicles, among others. Hindi pa rin siya ramdam. Hindi mo rin siya maramdaman na importante siya. Kasi 'di ba, parang meron pa ring judgment. Let's say for example, na I've been catcalled today and I will be going to the police station to report something about this, to report that I've seen the plate number of the driver, his face, or his features that I can still remember. So they will have even an idea of what the person looked like. Do you think it will be a serious talk for them? More likely, I will just get laughs. And that is for sure. And why? Because we are not gender inclusive yet. For us, that is something that is still light. That has no significance at all. That is something that we experience in a day-to-day basis. And I am for sure that almost every woman I know have experienced that. And just like me, they didn't have any choice. They just forget about it, ignore it, and just go on with the day. And the next day, they will still be experiencing that. Even though there's a law existing that is meant to protect us, all genders harassment in the public places still not dependable because hindi siya nabibigyan ng tamang weight, hindi siya nabibigyan ng tamang significance din at the same time. That's for me, that may be light as you have mentioned, but you know what? It is somehow instilling in my mind that will it still be like this few years from now? Will it still be like this in the near future? So in that case, I want to know more, guys, if you have shared experiences or any intersectionality with this kind of struggles. Angelina, do you have this kind of struggles as well?
Yes, napakaraming instances kong naranasan niyang catcalling. And medyo sensitive, pero may time na na-touch na rin ako sa upper private part ko. And ang nakakalungkot na part is, tinry ko siyang i-open sa parents ko. And ang na-accept ko lang is pagsabihan kasi hindi appropriate yung suot ko nung panahong yon. Which is, 13 years old pa lang ako noon. Minor pa lang ako. But the thing is, yung adult man na yun is taking an advantage sa akin. Pero yung parents ko, wala silang naidulot na kung ano yung trauma na naramdaman ko. Ang laki ng impact sa akin ng family orientation. Kasi yung family ko is traditional pa rin sila mag-isip eh. Like misogynistic and toxic masculinity response siya. May homophobic response pa rin siya tungkol sa mga pangyayari na nag-include ng female LGBTQIA community plus. And yung ate ko and si mama, medyo tolerated pa rin nila yung community. And yung misogynistic response pa rin from a female, yun yung hindi ko na-accept na nanggagaling sa kanila. So, napakalayo pa ng dapat nating lakbayin para maging gender inclusive, especially sa tahanan pa lang eh. Doon mo makikita na hindi pa rin talaga nag improve yung gender inclusivity sa atin sa tahanan pa lang na kung saan dapat doon nagsisimula yung lahat. And I think promoting gender inclusivity will take a long way pa kasi marami pa rin, kahit 74% ng statistics sa Philippines ay accepted ang LGBTQIA community. Marami pa rin mga tao ang ginagawang entertainment, especially yung identity ng isang tao. Ikaw ba, Thomas, meron kang mga experiences tungkol sa gender inclusivity or mga karanasan na nararamdaman mo yung toxic masculinity pagdating sa pananaw nila tungkol sa kung ano yung dapat maging galaw, maging suot, maging favorite color ng isang lalaki?
Yun, thank you, Angelina. No? Para sa akin naman, in terms of this toxic masculinity, I think palagi naririnig sa atin, mapamagulang man lang o kahit mga kaklase ko, gano'n. Nung elementary, palagi sinasabi sa akin na kalalaki mong tao, lagi kang takot sa lahat. Kasi to be honest, I'm more in the emotion-based talaga, no? Like, doubtful ako sa sarili ko, doubtful ako sa mga nangyayari. Like, kahit anong payo na binigay sa akin ng aking ina ay parang hindi ko siya ma-practice o hindi ko siya talaga magawa talaga kasi hindi ko alam kung tama ba ang gagawin ko o baka magkamali ako. To be honest nga, hindi ako marunong tumawid sa mga highway na ganyan, no? Kasi syempre, natatakot ako at and isa pa, takot din ako sa mga kidlat. Takot din ako sa ipis. So, syempre, ako bilang isang lalaki, palagi nilang pinipilit sa akin na, sus, ipis lang yan, patayin mo na rin yan. Sus, kidlat lang yan. Ano lang yan, headphones mo na lang yan. Ayun lang, para sa akin. Tsaka isa pa din, no? Ako din ay hindi violenting person. The way na talagang sumuntok ako, like paling-paling ganyan. Pero, naalala ko nung high school ako, lagi akong parang sinasabi na, Uy, Thomas, uy, Tim, sumuntok ka nga. Sabi nila, mahina, sloppy, parang paling daw yung braso ko. At yun nga, no, ang naging dahilan niya dun, to be honest, is more in the anger management thing talaga, no. Kagaya nga sabi ko, more in the emotion-based ako. So, okay, siguro kung narinig niyo kung napapasigaw, ganyan, ibig sabihin talaga, hindi ko makontrol yung aking galit na ganyan. So, yun yung aking, siguro yun in terms of like in the kalalakihan side talaga, yun yung talaga yung nagpapaano sa akin eh, which is really sad talaga, no? And especially hearing the sentiments ng inyong mga struggles, no? Kayong mga transgender at sa mga kababaihan, nalulungkot din pala ako na may iba't iba tayong struggles, no? At ako naman, syempre bilang isang lalaki, at I think hindi ko pwede gamitin ng gender kasi tayo ay mga tao. We're just humans. May iba't iba tayong characteristics talaga na pwede nating gawin talaga o hindi natin pwedeng gawin. Pero yung lipunan natin talaga, I think na-fixated talaga nila kung ano yung meron talaga sa ating bilang mga lalaki at kababaihan. Tapos kaya din hindi nila matanggap itong mga transgender na ito dahil sabi ko nga, may fixation talaga sila sa society. Hindi pa nila masyadong na-implement. And especially, let's say, the generational trauma. Ayan, yung mga generations na yan. Yung kahit may mga oldies, yung mga 1950s, mga baby boomers, ganyan. Yun din yung nagpapaisip sa akin. So sabi nga ni Angelina, may mga traditional way, yung kanyang tatay niya, nanay niya, tapos yun niya, yung response ng nanay at atin niya tungkol sa misogynistic ng kanyang ama. So feeling ko dun din galit nangyayari yung yung mga ganyang sentiments natin bilang sa bagong generation. Yan ang aking experience.
Thank you so much for that, Kuya Thomas. Alam mo, ako personally, ang idea ko lang about the struggles of men when it comes to gender, yung expression nila when it comes to the way they dress, yung idea ng toxic masculinity. I just wanted to recognize everyone na our body remembers trauma no matter how the mind tries to repress it. Gusto ko na ma-realize nyo na I am proud of each and every one of us kung gaano kayo ka-proud na ikwento yung mga struggles nyo. And I am here along with my TC's podcast team to represent the minorities and to start a conversation in hopes to spark a change. Again, this has been Vladimir B. Miranda.
This has been Daniel May Lagman, your Ate Danny.
And I am Angelina May Piragalia.
And my name is Thomas Isaac Matthew Escatindig.
This has been TC's podcast, Brewing the Hottest Tea, Sipping Every Cup of Tea. See you at our next brewing session. Goodbye, guys.